It is my pleasure to introduce Ivan Cindrić, cybersecurity expert and an active member of the INTERCEPT project team, contributing to the development and implementation of innovative cybersecurity solutions. In these sessions, Ivan will present the practical and technological aspects of the project solutions and their role in helping organizations strengthen their cybersecurity resilience. Ivan, thank you for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And also I would like to thank Marco for a very professional and detailed presentation. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So what I will be talking to you about today is some of our products in development, specifically our Sandbox solution that we've been developing in Concha Digital. So I am a cybersecurity engineer currently working in Concha Digital, a part of our team for the INTERCEPT project. My job is primarily developing and researching this Sandbox system. So what is the goal of a sandbox in general and in our sandbox specifically? So we need to analyze any kind of file, possibly suspicious files, in an environment that is similar to the real OT environment. Now, why would we do that? Well, because malicious files, malware is capable of detecting whether it is running on a virtualized environment or whether it is running on a real or a target system or not. For example, Stuxnet from, well, now 16 years ago was capable of detecting whether it is on a target system, and if it is not, it wouldn't run. It would just spread further. Also, we want to see the behavior of the potential malware and how it affects the system and the consequences it has. What else do we want to have? We want to have multiple levels of analysis, not just, seeing how it affects one system, but how it affects the system as a whole. And also, why are we doing this? Well, because, as we all know, regulatory requirements do enforce both the asset owners and the solution providers to do vulnerability testing or any kind of cyber security testing. Okay. So when it comes to a sandbox, we need to look into a couple of the design considerations. So primarily isolation of the system from the rest of the network, simulation approaches, meaning do we want it to be fully virtual or fully physical? What kind of analysis capabilities does it need to have? And also adaptability to new systems or let's say new workflows. So isolation, any file that we want to send, let's say, into a real OT network, firstly needs to be analyzed through this sandbox. So this needs to be done in an isolated network so that we make sure that anything that this potentially malicious file doesn't actually go outside of the expected perimeter. This is done using a firewall and not a complete data diode. So we need to have a feedback from the analysis, of course. So we limit the amount of data going out and we'll limit what can go in. And what goes out, we can define what kind of traffic goes out, the sizes of those traffics, the IP addresses and the targets, and even the protocols and formats of the messages going out. And that way we are sure that nothing that shouldn't go out does go out. So as I said, simulation approach. So the cheapest and the easiest way of doing simulation or a sandbox analysis is using fully virtualized environments. On the other hand, we can have fully physical environments. fully virtualized environments are cheaper and more adaptable. Physical environments are more realistic. As we said, malware is capable of detecting whether it is running on a real system or not. So, it can detect whether it is running on a specific system. So our approach is doing a hybrid system, which uses real machines for the target environment. In our specific use case, we are analyzing our own in-house developed SCADA system before it goes to the customer. We analyze it in this sandbox using a machine which is an exact copy of the machine which will be delivered to the client. But the environment in which this machine runs is virtualized so that we cut down on cost and the complexity of the system. When it comes to the analysis capabilities, so as we said, we want to see how a potentially malicious file affects the PC or the target system itself. For that, we use local analyzers so that we can see what happens on a file system and in RAM and processes. Are any users created? Do any users have their privileges escalate and so on? And on the other hand, we want to look at the system as a black box to see how the system affects the rest of the system. For that, we use network analyzers so that we see, are there any anomalies in the traffic being sent? Is there something trying to reach some unknown IP address and so on? So this simulator is fully virtualized, and it is based on the configuration of the SCADA system. So it just reflects the SCADA system configuration into the expected endpoints so that the SCADA has something to communicate with expected protocols and semi-realistic values. Okay, as we said, adaptability. So that's why we use virtualized systems. So let's say that one day we want to replace this SCADA system with some sort of an IoT monitoring system or something else completely. We want to be able to do that as quick as possible. That's why the rest of the system is virtualized so that we can more easily replace it instead of using a great number of physical devices which aren't so easily replaceable. So when it comes to the architecture, this is the architecture in general. I'll be going point by point for each of these modules. So the Sandbox client is basically our connection to the rest of the INTERCEPT platform. So any kind of file that is being sent from the INTERCEPT platform goes through this Sandbox client into the Sandbox environment, and the responses are sent to the same Sandbox client in a format that was predetermined. The format that is basically something similar to what MISP expects to receive. So as we said, the firewall limits the traffic that can go in or out of the system, and also the type of traffic endpoints that can communicate with each other and so on. This is a commercial solution with some additional tweaks that we do to make sure that the traffic is really, really limited. Okay, file API. So what we want to do is, once the file is inside the Sandbox environment, we want to temporarily cut off the traffic that goes out. So that's why we don't want to send anything continuously into the Sandbox. We want to set all the files that would need to be sent and further instructions on how to analyze them into the environment, and then restrict the traffic as much as possible. That's why we have this module. So the first step would be using some sort of a commercial solution to do, let's say, pre-analysis. So some static analysis, dynamic analysis, AI analysis, and so on. If this commercial solution does find anything, there is no need to turn on the rest of the workflow, because it does take a lot of time. I mean, it is configurable, but it can take up to several hours to analyze the file. So if a commercial solution finds something, we consider that to be enough. So the industrial PC is the system under consideration in this particular case. The SCADA system is installed on this industrial PC, which is a real PC, which can be remotely booted and remotely monitored and controlled to have everything set up for analysis. For example, where the file needs to go, what do we need to do with the file, install it, read it, run it, move it, whatever. This industrial PC has a local analyzer, which takes a snapshot of the system before the file is being sent and after a configurable amount of time to see what are the changes that happened on the system while the file was there. On the other side, from the outside perspective, we have a network analyzer, which monitors the traffic going in and out of this industrial PC to see, again, are there any anomalies or anything that isn't baseline behavior that we expect. Simulator is, as I said, a virtualized endpoint, or specifically more endpoints that copy the configuration of the SCADA system and boot up expected endpoints that the SCADA system communicates with. In the end, all of these reports go into the aggregator, which correlates them, formats them in a way that is expected by our INTERCEPT platform, and sends those reports back through the firewall to the Sandbox client. So the workflow, the first case, let's say the happy path, is if the commercial solution finds something, then we don't have to boot up the rest of the system. If the commercial solution doesn't find anything, then we continue with this more detailed approach of booting the industrial PC, sending the file to the industrial PC, starting the analysis both locally and on the network, starting the simulators, and after the configurable amount of time, we create a report and send that report back to the Sandbox client. So in conclusion, what are the values that this Sandbox provides? Well, first of all, multi-layered analysis. So firstly, we analyze the file with the commercial solution. If this doesn't find anything, we can also analyze it using our network analysis tools and also local behavioral analysis. So for example, malware can do something locally without ever affecting the external traffic, or the other way around. So additional point is aggregation and correlation. So all of these tools have their own reports, their own formats, which we then combine and correlate using some AI tools to have a unified report, which is more easily read and in a format expected by the rest of the system. And as an added value, this environment, basically a test bed, can also do some functional testing, meaning that the system under consideration inside can be run in a controlled simulated environment which closely resembles the real environment, so we can also see how it behaves in a realistic environment. That would be it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan, for the excellent presentation. Let's continue with questions. So for the questions, I guess I'm the one with most things I want to ask Ivan. The Sandbox solution presented today uses simulation and multi-layered analysis. What advantages does this approach provide compared to traditional malware analysis methods?
Oh, well, as I said, some malwares that target OT systems are capable of seeing whether they are on a real system. I mean, the easiest way to do it is to see, I don't know, the amount of disk space there is, users created, the amount of RAM, the amount of processors and stuff like that, even the drivers. If you just have basic virtualized systems, for example, like VirtualBox, they don't, their idea is not to actually fool anyone into believing that this is a real system, which is also a problem within itself, that anytime someone creates a more realistic virtualized system, malicious actors are capable of, again, detecting that it is a virtualized system. Also, on the other hand, if the computer or the system, even if it is real, if it is not the same, for example, not the same type of processor, not the same type of RAM, not the same type of network card, the malware is capable of detecting that, and in that case, the malware can just sit there and not run, or wait for an opportunity to spread further instead of doing anything. So it can avoid detection if the target system is not the exact one that it is targeting.
Thank you, Ivan. I have another question. Do you have any example or scenario where this kind of approach could help organizations prevent a larger cybersecurity incident?
Well, for our use case that we plan on using it is, let's say that when we develop a product, in this case, SCADA system, before we send it to a client, we are testing it in this kind of a test bed to make sure that it doesn't have any negative effects on the target system, be it malicious or any other kind. So apart from, our due diligence, this is also that we're regulatory compliant to do anyway. So apart from it being a regulatory requirement, it also helps to see the functionality of the system as a whole.
Thank you, Ivan, very much. Thank you for the excellent presentation and for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with us. Once again, thank you everyone for your cooperation. Before we close, we would like to share with you an announcement also, as we are currently developing a dedicated educational platform called CyberLab. It is designed to support organizations and employees in strengthening their knowledge of cybersecurity threats, relevant regulations, best practices, and available security solutions. The platform will provide accessible educational content, practical materials, and interactive learning opportunities focused on improving cybersecurity awareness and resilience. Everyone who has provided consent to be will be contacted contacted will be receive an email notification once the platform becomes available. And we warmly invite you to join CyberLab and become among the first users of the platform. Thank you again for your time and participation. We truly appreciate your interest and contribution, and we hope to see you again at our future events. Have a great day and stay safe online.